My name is Shane Darrisaw. I am the National Administrator of Impact Pro Client Management Systems. And what we do is provide client management systems assistance to HUD approved nonprofit housing counseling agencies across the country. Well, we got introduced to Zudy this year, I want to say March of this year. I want to say the 2.0 version. I could be incorrect in terms of where we are, but I believe it's the 2.0 version. Our system is hosted on the cloud and supported on the back end with Zudy through Amazon Web Services. By use cases, we have HUD approved nonprofit housing counseling agencies that have to report the work that they do to HUD in specific formats. In other words, the services that an individual in a community comes to a HUD approved housing counseling agency for are reported out to HUD on a quarterly basis. So everything ranging from someone that needs assistance with purchasing a home, to rental services, to seeking shelter, mortgage modification, homelessness assistance. All of that information is captured per a certain guideline and reported out to HUD, and HUD takes that information and reports that to Congress on a regular basis, and in return, Congress allocates funding to these HUD approved agencies based on the information that they received from the client management system, Impact Pro. All of them. In terms of the user interface, we have come upon solutions that make workflow easier. Let's call it efficiency, or an ease of efficiencies in terms of making things from a process standpoint easier for the agencies to be able to utilize, so that we've taken all the guesswork out of the process for them. We were already, we're in a digital age now, so we're just taking advantage of that more frequently now with respect to how information is captured. So we have been able to take a lot of organizations that were using paper to being paperless. So from that standpoint, we're just leveraging all of the abilities of what we found to be easier to do inside of Zudy. In comparison to our previous platform, light years. So we've been able to deliver the first solution, I believe, in less than 3 months. It would be a little bit less if you want to take out the unknown unknowns, which I've found to be my best friend in terms of things that we didn't know would happen have occurred, but even that has been light years. So we reduced, and by comparison, what took us a year and a half to do on a previous platform, we did in 3 months with Zudy. Well, again, the no code or low code work, the level of work that we can do on our own once things are handed off to us, the interaction that we've had throughout with the account managers and the architectural design individuals. Just all of it, again, they have made a process that should be automated, friendly, if that's the right term. So dashboards that we are working on where certain KPIs, key performance indicators, key performance metrics are going to be at the touch of a button to be able to be displayed and disseminated and captured by the end user. So when it comes to being able to report out the impacts or the work that's being done, it's easier now for the end user to be able to get the information that they need, disseminate that information, and deliver that information to those that need it. That's a tough question. It would have been able to be done, but it was just easier because we took a lot of the designing and planning was easier to be laid out because of their process. So how much longer, I think, was the question. I can't answer that. I can just say in terms of, as I mentioned earlier, what we did in 18 months on a previous system and platform, we did in 3 months, and technically 2 months, but 3 months to be able to deliver a solution. Okay, so they, in terms of data migration and data connectors, they actually built a data transition table, and I think it was through a platform called Magellan that was customized for us to be able to take data out of the old platform, stage it into a staging area, if that's the right word, and then moving it into the new platform that was built on the Zudy vinyl platform. So I would say it was seamless from my standpoint, but I'm not the one that wrote the code or pushed the data in and out of the old platform into the new platform. But they made what was going to be what I called Godzilla in terms of a monumental monster of a project easy with the solution that they delivered. Well, it just streamlined things. It saved hours and manpower to be able to get things done. So what we've been able to deliver on behalf of the end user nonprofit housing counseling agencies actually replaces a person, if you would, which allows that person to be able to focus on other things in terms of automation. So at the push of a button now, or by clicking on a certain feature, items that were on an outside platform are now automatically transferred in real time into our platform by just answering a question, yes or no. Ease of use on a scale of 1 to 10, let me call it an 8.5 or 9, depending on what it is you're asking for. So night and day for our end user when we're comparing our old platform, which was great but clunky. Now we have taken all the guesswork out of what am I supposed to do next. You don't even have to ask a question. So we, where it was, they had to follow instructions in the old platform, they basically click on the button that addresses the question that they have to ask to be able to perform a certain function in the system. We've gotten no complaints, great feedback about what our new system looks like, how much less stress during our current environment, meaning everything that's going on with the pandemic and organizations being forced to be able to work remotely. So the timing was good for us to be able to run across Zudy to be able to help deliver what we believe the rest of the industry and probably most industries are going to be going to in terms of offering a paperless solution to be able to deliver or conduct your job. I find that they do a great job of continuing to improve features and communicate those feature improvements throughout. So there's not been a week that has went by where I've not read about or gotten an email about or been able to get access to one of the improvements, not only through the normal communications, but also just the dialogue I've had back and forth with the account managers and the design team that have been working on projects for us. Because we started out with one product build in terms of an application, and now we've added two more with two more to come. It's extremely important to continue to improve the product because of what, again, our current environment in terms of, again, the shoreline has changed in terms of how any organization is going to be doing work, where they're going to need to take advantage of technology and using less paper but getting more data, because that data is what is going to deliver the results that are going to be needed to be able to continue to do this work. The ability to be able to capture information in terms of what in the industry we call an intake. A lot of organizations may still use paper, and I keep referring back to that, but now we've automated that process to the point where the the end user can deliver an access portal for the individual client to be able to get introduced to the agency, provide documentation, and for the agency to be able to follow up with the individual based on the information that they provided. So that's now been streamlined. So that before, this process may have taken days or weeks to be able to get to the point of being able to deliver a solution to the clients that they serve. Now we can do it in a day. Reporting out in terms of other examples of how they've improved the process for us is in the key performance measures or reporting modules that we've requested to be built, and so that the individual agencies can pull the reports and data at their level without having to request it through us. Well, some features that we're going to be rolling out, don't really want to talk about it yet, in terms of the dashboard for managers, where they can drill down to the granular level with respect to being able to look at client details and being able to drill down to a specific community with some of the dashboard features that we're going to be rolling out. So time to market definitely has increased, where in some cases, for example, today a call that we just finished, where we were going over some things that we needed to have delivered. By the time we wrapped up the call, they said, well, we'll be able to deliver something to you because today is we're approaching a holiday. Monday, we're going to be able to look at it to be able to push it to market. So the user interface, user experience is greatly improved. Hadn't really heard any complaints from our end users, but they are loving what they're seeing. Yes, Zudy has increased development speed. Where what I think would take us months to be able to complete, we're getting done in a matter of weeks. So I have a number of projects that we were working on that I thought that we'd be able to get completed by next year. We've already completed them. And we're still in the year 2020. I'm really pleased with I'm really pleased with all of the deliverables and the work so far. I know there's always room for improvement with any organization, but I like the communication. I like the follow up. I like the constant checking in with me and the team on if we're moving in the right direction, if we need to make pivots or changes, and the fact that I could literally send an email or pick up the phone or send a communication through Slack and get an instant communication. So there's no guesswork. So I don't have a complaint. I'm satisfied with everything thus far. Well, yes, the ability to be able to uh, add a document upload feature was done in less than a day. Well, actually, a couple of hours. Some reporting views needed to be changed, and basically, I gave that request verbally via a phone call. And while I was on the phone, they asked me to refresh my screen, and it was done. Uh, Upload times. In terms of documents that needed to be uploaded, that was another request that we were having an issue with. That issue got resolved again in real time within probably 30 minutes. So those are some examples. It was extremely, the setup of the initial was extremely straightforward. Everything that they said they did, they actually exceeded. Deployment of the initial Zudy, getting access to it. I want to say once we agreed and signed off on the dotted line, access to the system was within, I want to say, an hour, and and then we started working on some training that we needed to do to get familiar with the platform. That was delivered that same day, so we wanted to make sure that on our end we understood what we were getting ourselves into. So we, as a team and staff, completed our training to get familiar with the Zudy platform. I think within 48, 72 hours, we were done with what we needed, and then we started building our platforms, applications. Well, again, as the national administrator, that was more on the developers' end to be able to answer that. But I can't say that they had an issue with any development challenges. But as the, I guess, national administrator, that's more on the developer end, that question there. My team is small, so three of us. So I'd like to say that we're a team of three, but we act like a team of 30 now because of what we have access to. We have communication with the one senior developer, actually two and a half people, if you want to cut a person in half. So two and a half, two people. We are in constant communication with, and but that's mainly because of additional features and additional projects that we keep adding to the process. In terms of organizations, we have over 100. When we started, before we started with Zudy, we had 65, and we're 115 and counting right now. So because of what we've rolled out through Zudy, we have almost doubled in size. Extremely stable. We found the stability to be extremely stable, no issues whatsoever thus far. Fingers crossed on that. Scalability, that's one of the things that sold me because we wanted to be able to make sure that we can deliver a product that could grow as we grew and as the industry grows and as changes occur. So we no issues whatsoever. So we do have plans for increasing the usage in the future. Again, I've mentioned this a couple of times. A call that we're working on an additional product and project that we want to be able to roll out in the next couple of months. So we're feeling really good about that. Tech support, we've not had any issues. We've not had any challenges to be able to go to tech support, but as promised, if we did have issues, they would follow up, and we get a communication with the design group that we've been working with daily to kind of give us a heads up if we may encounter a problem, what the process will be. So no issues whatsoever thus far. No, we worked. The previous platform had a development team, an agreement along with that. So we, in order to make any changes or enhancements, we had to go through that. Part of why we wanted to look at other options, and fortunately, we found Zudy. Just again, it was just an internet search in terms of some products that were on other platforms and what it came along with. And what jumped out to us is we had the ability to be able to own everything that we built. So, of course, with support and help from Zudy, but that was what jumped out to us. So, without mentioning what those other platforms were, some of them that are very prominent that you hear about on the news I guess in the media every day, but although they were comparable, we found that we can do the same thing with the Zudy platform and the team, and they just proved us right. Pricing and licensing is on par or better than what we were looking at and what we had. That was also one of the key factors for making the decision. So we cut our cost in half by going over to the Zudy platform. No, we have, there are no additional costs in terms of the standard licensing fees, but we have uh, asked for and signed up for support services. So some questions that we can't answer until we get more and more knowledge about the system, we have a support structure there so that we can get questions asked and answered, or time to be able to have things built or augmented. In terms of return on investment, it has been huge. As I said, once we switched from the old platform over to Zudy, we had an increase of 65 some odd organizations to, again, now over 115. So I'm not doing math there, but that's about what, 55 organizations that came to us as a result of the platform switch. And we, in terms of a demo request that we get, we used to get about 1 or 2 demo requests a month. Now we're getting about 2 to 4 demo requests a week. I wouldn't say it's the biggest lesson that I've learned from Zudy. Is that I really appreciate understanding known unknowns and what unknown unknowns are. So, in other words, how we approach a problem now versus how we dealt with problems from the old platform. Now, if there's an issue, we know that there is a solution that can be delivered in short order. In the past, it was, kind of hit and miss in terms of, we got this problem, we don't know how long it's going to take to be able to fix it, but we do know now that if we do run into problems on this platform here, we know that there's a solution that's going to be able to be delivered. And in most cases, the end user doesn't even know it's an issue. Uh, Advice that I would give to organizations or entities that are thinking about coming to Zudy: do your research, compare what development and the timeline looks like on the big players in terms of other platforms that are out there, which are all great, and ask yourself if it's going to be comparable, and can the Zudy platform actually speak to the same things that the big boys do. I would rate Zudy a 9. Just the ease of use, the customer service, making me feel like I'm a partner that's valued, and just appreciating the feedback that we get and receive from them.